How y'all doing? Now, which came first, the freaking chicken or the damn egg? Obviously, that's such a pointless question. We're never gonna know for sure. Even the most die-hard scientists scratch their heads when trying to come up with a reasonable answer for that question, because there's always gonna be somebody who thinks it's the opposite of that. But a less convoluted question, yet more legit, at least in my opinion, is which came first, the Chicken Run movie or me? Yeah, we were both released on the same day, June 23rd of that year. I was never actually planning on revealing my date of birth to any of you guys because it's kind of personal, but for the sake of this joke, it had to be done. I really hope I don't regret doing that in the future. And if you want to get even more wild, the MV Treasure sank at the tip of South Africa, which caused a huge oil spill that got over like thousands of penguins that lived in Africa. So technically speaking, both these events happen the same day, and they both have to do with birds needing to be rescued. So, honestly, if somebody calls me a chicken, I would say, well, you're not wrong, buddy, because this is my kind of movie. But honestly, I've seen Shrek more times than I've seen this, and it's more familiar with me than, the Chicken Run film, even though they're both released by the same company. But that's not the point. What I'm here to discuss in today's episode, well, for those of you unfamiliar with Chicken Run, it's basically The Great Escape, but with chickens. Chicken Run is a movie about the life of a chicken on a chicken farm, and they loathe it there. Because once they stop laying eggs, they get their heads cut off. And it's a nightmare for them. And I'm sure this is pretty similar to how it is in real life, the chicken farms, except it might even be less bad in the movie than in real life, because, think about it, in real life it's basically a torture chamber for the chickens. Like this picture here, every single one of those white things you see at the bottom are all chickens. That's right, there's thousands of them. And they're all just bunched up together. They don't even get to see the freaking sun. It's that terrible. So honestly, it could still be worse for them, but even still, it sucks. And if they never find a way to escape, eventually they'll all get their heads cut off. So tonight I'm here to determine exactly how long these chickens have to escape before that actually happens to all of them. Even if it's just like one chicken left, because we all know what happened to Edwina here. She didn't quite make it. She went to a different paradise than the other chickens did, if you catch my drift. But she chose for that to happen, because she didn't tell anybody that she didn't have any eggs, so I'm assuming it was an assisted suicide. But the point is, we're going to need to take into consideration a few different things for this episode. Firstly, we need to determine how many chickens are on this farm. Look, if you care to count every single chicken in this scene, you be my guest, but I'm not about to do that, and by the time you're seeing this video, I've already completed it, so yeah. Now, I mentioned earlier that there's probably like thousands of chickens in that photo, which I'm assuming is the reality of most chicken factories, but I'm guessing they didn't have enough clay to model that many chickens in this movie, so they just made a couple hundred probably. I mean, like, Edwina was chicken number 282, so we'll just say 300. This is going to be a very similar episode to the library one, where we're going to be taking into consideration the on average aspect. Now, they're all hens, except for this guy right here, who is a rooster. Rocky doesn't count because he came from the circus, and he wasn't originally there to begin with. So, why is there just one rooster and, like, a few hundred hens? Like, maybe he's there to help them reproduce more chickens slightly? I mean, if they were trying to get eggs, you'd think that there would be a few more roosters just so they can, do their thing and make more babies, but I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, excluding Rocky, there's only one freaking male in this whole batch of females. I can't really determine if they want more chickens or less chickens. I mean, they freaking cut a chicken's head off once they don't lay any eggs for the whole week, and then they eat them later on. That's right, that pile of bones you see right there was actually Edwina. I didn't know that at first either, but it would make sense. And to add more on top of that, later in the movie, they order a whole freaking chicken pie making machine, which I'm doubting that the inside of is mechanically accurate to how they are in real life, but I digress. So yeah, they don't give a crap about these chickens, they just want the money. So honestly, I don't know the real reason behind just one rooster out of a bunch of hens, but we're not gonna care too much about his existence because his impact on the farm is just way too minuscule for it to even matter. So we'll just say like 300 hens, could be more, but it's at least that many, so we'll go with that. Alright, so 300 hens on this farm, but how often does a hen lay an egg? As well as how many eggs does a hen lay in its lifetime? which is like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. So Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget be damned. It's been 23 years, bastard. Well, I did some Google searching, and apparently your average hen weighs roughly 600 eggs in its lifetime. And starting at 18 weeks to 20 weeks old, that's when they lay their first egg, and they lay them daily. So if a hen lives to, on average, 5 years, and they lay 600 eggs, that means that they'll stop laying eggs before they're even 2 years old. That's roughly daily, it's not exactly, but, I don't know if they lay eggs their whole life or not. I would assume not, because when a human gets really old and crap, they don't give birth, so yeah. But like we established earlier, if there's ever a 5-day delay of egg laying, the chicken will go bye-bye. So we're gonna have to do some pretty serious math here, but if a hen's maximum amount of eggs is roughly 600 in its lifetime, and they lay them daily, that would mean that one of these guys would have about 20 months to escape that farm, or a year and 8 months. But that's just one hen. We're taking into consideration all of them. What we need to do here is take 600 times 300, which is 1,800. That leaves us with roughly 5 years. 5 years they have on this farm before they're all gone. And quite frankly, on average, that's how long they each live for. I mean, sometimes it's longer than 5 years, but you get the point. So is that how it is in real life then? If it's a smaller chicken farm with like only a few hundred chickens, do they have about 5 years before none of the original chickens are there anymore? So obviously chickens in real life are not smart like the freaking chickens in the movie, and they can't escape on their own. But if they could, they would probably have longer time to do so. So roughly the chickens have their whole life to plan to escape. If it takes them that long to figure out a plan to escape, the chicken might be super old to the point where they don't really have any life left. So Dawn of the Nugget, how much longer will these chickens last for? I mean, I don't know how old they were in the original movie, and maybe they could have escaped much later than what they actually did, but I don't know. So, that was this episode. I will see you guys on the other side, my friends. I'm just kidding. Goodbye.